So we have a couple things to talk about. We also have my son Andrew, who's going to join us on this podcast. I was just bring Andrew in because he's a family member. And
he's your little orchid.
Yeah, Andrew, you there? How you doing?
Good. I wish I could be there. Mom's birthday, but I don't care. So
happy birthday, Lisa.
You care about your mother? Yes. Well, that's totally understandable. You know, if you turn your phone sideways, you take up the whole screen.
Well, I'm not a brain scientist, so I don't know how these things work.
There you go. All right. It's good to see you, Andrew. Oh, where is Andrew?
He's walking.
He's walking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to run some errands real quick.
Oh, this is a stunt.
Uh-oh. It's Dizzy Cam.
There he is.
Oh my God.
Oh wow. Okay.
There you go. Oh, you can turn off your phone now. I've got.
That's not fair.
There you go. Yeah, you did know that it was going to start feeding back. Okay, I don't know. Oh, you know where you got to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to share this mic.
You don't have two mics?
No, I don't have a camera to come from the other side.
Oh, sit in his lap like the old days, kid. Come on.
Yeah.
Stool. We should have planned this out a little better.
Yeah, I know.
Another great bit gone south.
I might get fired. Oh, who would fire me?
Who would hire you?
This is one of the things about doing a podcast, by the way.
Headphones?
It was perfect, Andrew. Thank you. It was understood. Go close the doors because it's part of the set now. That people see that it's a house. It's not as interesting.
And not a bunker. Yeah.
It was, I don't know. It may feel a little this way to you guys too. It was a thing throughout my career that I could be fired at any time, could lose it, and that. So there was always this talk about prime directives, and I wanted to ask John this, but every time you ask a question, you get 10 more minutes on it. And when he was talking about how our brain is ruled by survival, I feel like work is the saber-toothed tiger in this scenario, and that all the time I was working, I was trying not to get fired and trying not to screw up because that was where my food came from. My spear was my mouth, which had to entertain people instead of, stick them and gut them and skin them and cook them. Which we verbally do sometimes. Anyway, so here at a podcast, there's a certain amount of freedom, and with it comes, I suppose, a little bit of sloppiness.
Well, there's also rules.
Sorry.
No swearing when Joe's with us, right?
Yes, I didn't swear.
No.
I guess that is swearing, though, technically.
I don't know. Are we classing this thing up now?
No, we're not. Okay. All right.
The family gathered for Lisa's birthday, is that correct?
Yeah, Lisa's birthday was yesterday. Keith and Leanne and Hazel and Georgia are arriving in about a half hour or so. And we're all going to be together for 3 or 4 days. It'll be fun. So with Andrew here, I wanted to do this one other quick topic, and then we'll do whatever you want to talk about. He and I went hiking the other day, and it's the first time I've been able to hike more than half a mile with you, a mile. Anyway, it was a good...
Big steps.
Yeah, it was good.
Amazing pictures, by the way.
Oh, yes, from desert hiking. You have seen them. I forget there's media. I've globally published these already. While we were hiking, we were talking a little bit about news, what's going on currently regarding the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas, yeah.
Who apparently took all kinds of lavish vacation gifts from a billionaire friend of his. And, I like to play devil's advocate, so I'm like, so? It's a lifetime appointment.
I said that.
Not in violation of
no laws violated.
Stipulations on the part of the Supreme Court.
But doesn't the emoluments clause also apply to the Supreme Court? No?
Nope.
I know
just
you
like
can't
Donald Trump
buy a
can
steak in-
declassify documents just by dreaming he declassified them yesterday.
Yeah.
They're really, when you dig into it,
Yeah.
To me, I mean, look, is it a bad look that
It's a
this
terrible
huge?
optics. Yeah.
Yeah, but these days, ask Andrew, terrible optics are part of how you get noticed through all the clutter.
He doesn't need to be noticed. He's doing 275 grand a year on the bench
Look at
wearing a
his
robe.
look at his hair. Look at his butt crack. He's doing everything he can. Anyway, so we started talking about this a little bit, and I told him a story about a twisted tune that we did way back when Clarence Thomas was first in the news when he was being confirmed, and this would be how long ago?
Oh, a long time back.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
15, is it 20 years?
I think it might even be longer. Someone could Google that, maybe let us know on the
Is this
text.
the pubic hair on the Coke era?
So I said to Andrew, we did a twisted tune about it called Pubic Hair. And he looked at me like, you know.
Yeah.
But I said to him, it's so weird that this is a topical news story now, this Clarence Thomas guy, because when he was the most controversial Supreme Court pick ever in terms of the closeness of the vote. And what it was is he was supposedly sexually harassing his secretary, Anita Hill.
Yeah.
And by the way, we did a couple of songs. We did "I Got No Thrill" from Anita Hill to take his part.
I got no thrill.
From Anita Hill. And we did this song. And apparently one of her things that she testified. And by the way, the head of the Senate committee getting testimony from Anita Hill about his harassment was this guy named Joe Biden.
Oh, yes.
And if you want to, this is what YouTube is good for this stuff. If
Yes,
you want
it
to
is.
Google into this.
Treasure trove.
Yeah, this is, it's just fascinating that, have we got new people by now? So the story comes back, and if you remember those hearings, the old white congressmen, by old, I think they were in their mid-40s back then, I think so. No, they were always old ones, but Biden was young. They were rude to her. They put her on trial.
They grilled her.
They grilled her in some rude ways about her, womanness, if you will. And Clarence Thomas fought back and got the nomination. And do you remember how he did it?
Not off top.
He lashed out at the committee hearings as stupid,
I remember now, yeah.
bogus, and he said, they're not coming after me for any other reason than I'm an uppity black man.
Right. Played the race card, yeah.
And so what did they do? They all got woke a little bit, and they voted him in. So anyway, so now here we have a member of the Supreme Court justices gets free flights on private jets and goes to lavish vacation destinations. And I'm thinking, okay, if that's against the law or it's a violation of rules, all right, great, let's get him. And then I find out, there actually are no rules. It's a lifetime appointment.
But the distrust of that branch of the government is at an all-time high, if what I read in the paper is true anyway. And then you've got his wife and some of the other wives.
You mean news media give us a narrative that there's a lot of drama and we should be concerned?
Well, it's a lot more calm inducing to do it with the newspaper than it is watching it on television.
So they're telling us there's a saber-toothed tiger after our democracy, and we should run. Anyway.
Who unearthed the story? How did this bubble to the top of the news cycle?
Ooh, I forget which. It's got to be the Post or the New York Times.
Just because it's a
I can't remember.
Yeah.
You don't remember who hit the other car, just that there was a car wreck.
Exactly.
What color car was it? I don't know. But traffic slowed down. Hey, Andrew, so what's the best way to talk to you now?
If you use that mic,
As
I use
father
this
and
mic,
son, I would think.
I
Would
will
the
be out
dynamic. I
of
don't
the
know.
picture.
Just a hunch.
do you have a second mic somewhere? Well, finally, the star of the show gets to take over.
Yes. You haven't sold your hair yet?
You go ahead. Go ahead, Andrew. Start.
Oh, hi. Well, as a political expert, I'm no brain scientist, but I am a rocket scientist. political scientist. It's
rocket
interesting. There's a tweet that from my favorite, this guy who just parrots Richard Nixon on Twitter. He just pretends to be Nixon.
Is that's still popular? Like pretending to be Nixon, even?
Well, it's just political commentary,
Right.
and from a smarter source, I would hope, you know. But he said, when you come to understand how much of the law depends on people's honor and good sense, you start to sweat. And I've had those revelations about life where it's like the rules are kind of made up,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Like traffic, we all have this mutual understanding that you stay in this line and you stay in this line unless you drive in Vegas. Not at him, but
Yeah.
Oh boy.
By the way, I'm over here. Go ahead. We're gonna. I actually didn't give any thought to this. So, yes, Andrew. Now, what were we saying?
This isn't how Leslie Stahl does it.
well,
No.
yeah. Thanks for having me. This is the nicest rehab I've ever been to.
When you say nicest rehab, what do you mean? Oh, are you afraid to smoke pot in front of your
No,
mother?
I mean not you. I just the kids and the
Oh yeah, yeah. It's good.
they don't approve of my hobbies, comedy. Keith is he's funny, but sometimes like he'll call me up and I'll go. I'll make a joke like, "Oh, I'm miserable. Life is awful. It's all crashing." And then he wants to like give me this 40-minute lecture, and then you're like, "No, I was just kidding." And then he thinks you're pushing him away, and then you just have to like sit through the conversation because that's the fastest way to get off the phone.
fastest way is to let him give you advice.
Yeah.
Isn't he a little bit like your mother in that regard too?
It's her birthday. Give her a break.
Yeah.
Bob.
All right. I'm a troublemaker.
Yeah.
All right.
I like
Well,
the
they'll be-
idea of
they'll-
Richard Nixon doling out advice.
Well, that was the part that startled me. Is that in 2023,
Yeah.
people would even know who Richard Nixon was enough to actually parody him on
How
social media.
dare you?
Well, maybe one day someone will be Bob Rivers' parody.
That AI app won't get used that much.
What about
But it is
Ronald
true.
Reagan commander?
Yeah. Ronald Reagan is always going to be a character. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when he does Ronald Reagan, do you recognize the impression?
No, he doesn't. Because he's just a little toddler when I was, well, never mind. Mommy, where are the
Sure. I
trees?
mean, from historical parody, and it's not the first time someone's done a bad Nixon impression or
Bad
whatever.
Reagan.
right.
Yes.
Reagan, sorry, shoot.
All right. So what's up? What's new with you, Andrew? What's cooking that we haven't talked about on the hike already?
Well,
Did you listen to that song "Pubic Hair" that I sent you?
Yes.
Was it funny?
No. But like I said, I'm inspired by your failure.
In context, yeah, you should be inspired by my failure.
I told him he used to sell albums called Bob Rivers Crap. And I was like, what a great...
Yeah. These are the
know.
ones that didn't
Mark,
work.
where you go.
When we were putting out the Twisted Tunes in an album, I had a whole bunch that I didn't think were good enough, and I said, well, clearance sale time.
Someone likes it,
Discount rack. And so we made Crap 1, and it turns out we had enough for Crap Volume 2.
I thought you had like 3 or 4, but...
I don't think I called them Crap. But they
Okay.
continued.
That was best of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the third one was called Diarrhea. Yeah.
Tell me more about your crap career, Bob.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I think that's admirable, and
Fail forward.
I stole it, by the way. My podcast is called Andrew's Crap. It's just me trying my worst jokes.
Yep.
Because that you have to be willing to fail
Yes.
to create something great.
Yeah.
Because if you're scared of the failure, this is my writing advice to people now is always like write your worst ideas down, because sometimes you're like, oh, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
But if you dismiss it before it even gets to the paper, you're gonna miss a couple that are great, because
Wow.
you'll go, that's dumb.
I love that, and a way I do that is if I have a terrible idea and I write it down, and then I'll look at it and go, he should have done it this way. And then I'll go, oh, much better idea. Because I'd love to criticize.
So you're criticizing yourself and getting off on it.
Tricking myself into criticizing myself.
Self-flagellation there.
Well, or just I could just remember that I'm a Catholic kid, and that helps too. Guilt.
Repressed,
So,
that's what you say.
yeah.
just touring, self-producing. I find a lot of music venues, which is interesting because they're not used to having comedy, so they don't hire security. Like a mosh pit is a normal activity for them.
Sure.
So,
Wow.
they overserve people. They don't care, and it's
That's where you
better
like to
for the
perform.
YouTube
Yeah.
clips.
Yeah.
And I noticed like a lot of them have like sound dampening. They build the venue for music. So they have, music you want to, I guess, kill all the excess noise from bouncing off the walls.
Ideally.
But in comedy, that's what you want.
You want that.
You
It's
want the
called
laughs.
ambience.
Yeah, you don't want to hear them going, the chicken wings and
Right. You want it to be a.
when's the next guy on?
Yeah,
You want to overcome all that. But I was thinking about it because it can't. I'm hearing myself on a delay and trying to hear them.
You want? Is it easier if you go in the other room?
No, this is fine.
Okay, then we'll all be on camera. I'm embracing that I can't get fired over this.
It's freeing, isn't it, Bob?
It is totally. All right.
Well, with 30 listeners, it's not like even if you do something bad, who's gonna believe you? No one saw it, But I noticed that in these live music, sometimes the laughter doesn't make it to you, and you think you're doing terrible because it dies in the room or whatever.
Yeah.
And comedians are the nutsacks of performing artists. If conditions aren't absolutely perfect,
The scrotum.
it's cold. I'm gonna shrink up into my.
That's right. I talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
If you're not getting the feedback, in my
He's an
case, I
orchid.
get it from co-hosts. But if you're not getting good feedback, it makes it much more difficult to. In fact, as John mentioned, you when you have fear involved, you don't think as clearly. When you're out of control, and that's probably nothing harder than stand-up comedy for that.
Oh my
because
God, are you kidding?
Zip
be
can always,
brave.
Zip can always blame the bass player, and
Because he ain't locking, he's rushing the groove.
and Ed can always say it's Mitch Albom's fault today because he was off. We all have somebody. But when you're a one-man band out there, unless you're a ventriloquist, you can play the drums. Yeah. So I get it. Totally.
Yeah, well,
How do you do it?
I had this tarot joke go viral on Facebook.
I saw that. I sort of, not being in the dating age, I didn't quite understand
It
it.
has nothing to do with dating. Well, really.
It sort of sounded like it did.
Well, the joke was pay attention to your girlfriend, otherwise she's going to let tarot cards make decisions for her. Because a friend of mine is going through some stuff with her partner, and I saw her on Instagram playing with tarot cards, and I was like, oh, this guy is fucked,
Yeah.
If you leave it up to the cards, it's just random,
Yeah.
Tarot cards, are we familiar with them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very, I'm familiar with them the way I'm familiar with a whole bunch of stuff I said is a bunch of bullshit and haven't paid any attention to in a long time.
It's just like a psychic or palm reading or any of those dark arts, maybe.
Yep.
They want a seance, and then they shuffle a deck of cards, and then they go, oh, you got that one, that means this. And
they make money out
so
of it.
Yes.
It's essentially the same as a Ouija board.
Yeah.
But where people don't realize they're moving their hand. I'm going to go into the picture a little. They're moving their hands on the board to what they subliminally, subconsciously want the answer to be. They think it's some kind of magic or some kind of spirits are in the room. Yeah.
So the joke is up to 11,000 shares on Facebook, which is pretty good.
Wow.
For me. Well, yeah,
That's
If
a lot.
Steve Hofstadter let his dog write a tweet, they would get more likes than that. But, for me, these are good numbers.
Yeah.
So humble.
Comparison is the thief of joy. There's something for you for
I
the
like that.
Yeah.
for the scientists out there.
And you know what? At our age, we need more and more depressing slogans. That's totally what we need.
Yeah.
Well, the idea is to compare.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
I agree with
Okay,
it.
cool,
Yeah.
cool.
I just need more tools to stab myself in the front.
You
Give us
fit
some
right
more
in
info.
comedy.
Yeah.
So the joke got stolen a bunch of times, which it happens.
Yeah.
Nobody owns words.
When
They
you
can-
say got stolen, what do you mean stolen on the internet?
Comedy
Is
is
it
well,
everything.
people just copy and paste it and then post it from
Oh,
their
okay,
account.
got it.
'Cause,
Stolen, yes. To be or not to be?
That is the question.
I just thought of that.
Yeah, I just thought of it too.
And comedians get up in ants, but I think that's just human nature. Like people steal. It's easier than stealing copper, but way less profitable. So steal my jokes. They're not getting me very far. So
Is that a catalytic converter reference?
sure,
Is it copper?
or
No.
copper. Yeah.
No. Oh, copper wires, right? That's what they
Yes,
steal.
and that
lines
copper
from.
downspouts in Detroit. We're very familiar with scrapping copper. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I when I was a kid, people started doing that. I remember I was like 18, 19 years old, and we drove up to New Hampshire, and there was a railroad bed there, and the trains couldn't run because they'd stolen the copper from the signal lights.
They should
Yeah.
have put the street lights here for crying out loud.
Yeah. And just, so I don't know what drug it was back then, but it's always drugs, I'm sure.
Sure.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Andrew, what are some of the unspoken terms of etiquette as far as comics are concerned?
Oh, there's lots of them.
The
In terms of
unwritten
like
rules.
joke sharing or
Yeah, just in general. I mean, what's a definite
don't
no-no?
fuck the wait staff. Wait,
Those are the 10 commandments of comedy.
okay.
He meant like when you're borrowing someone else's premise or a joke, like, oh, I
Credit the
hate
source.
flying on airlines is like a hack thing that everybody
sure.
can
There's
do.
a difference between the premise and the punchline.
Right.
So if someone has an interesting premise, and I go, they didn't really do that justice.
Yes.
I might
Steal.
take the premise and go, let me write my own version of
Make
that.
it yours. Yeah.
And if
Okay.
it's 98% yours, just the premise of like, I got on an airplane
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
And premises are very common. I have a joke about, dating in adulthood is like going to the pound. They're not bad dogs, but there's a reason they're in there. So
How old are you right now?
38.
38. Yeah.
38 in a week.
So
yeah.
you're saying the dating pool at 38 is not what it was at 24.
No. Yeah.
No.
Lots
Yeah.
of
By the
tarot
way,
cards.
she would say that too, right?
Yes.
I mean, you walk in the pound, some dogs wag their tail at anybody, and some are like, let me smell your fingers first. And
Yeah.
I'm the one shivering in the corner, like, I don't deserve love. Oh, You just want a lonely girl that's like, I want to take them all home. This one licks my face. But,
Oh man.
anyway, so I discovered on Facebook there are meme pages, which is someone just wrote,
Something
one
else.
of them is called like hung like a half-eaten Tic Tac. And then they just take the funniest things they see on the internet that day and post them. And sometimes they credit the creator, like if they cause a funk. If you see it and you catch them, you can go, this was mine, how dare you. And sometimes they go, oh, in the comments that no one sees, they go, actually, this was from Andrew or whatever. But there's one called Shithead Steve, which is very popular. It has 7 million Instagram followers. And so I submitted the joke to them because they take user-submitted content, because I thought, well, that's a huge audience to get in front of. And I thought, how funny that times have changed in comedy where it's like in the 90s you're like, I gotta get on the Tonight Show,
Right,
and then
right.
you're like, I gotta get on Netflix, and now you're like, I gotta get on the pee pee poo poo page.
Shithead Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very different. Wow. But, and yet the same.
Yeah,
Because
wherever the audience is, wherever the attention is,
Jesus.
is where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to learn all this stuff about tarot to flesh out more of the joke. But I don't want to actually learn anything about it's a tough
tarot.
position,
Yeah,
you know? It's like trying to write a book report in high school or prepare for a presidential debate. You want just enough
Get the Cliff Notes.
to fit in like a 2-minute soundbite, you know? And tarot is huge on TikTok, apparently. People scroll and they get their tarot readings from TikTok. Which I thought is interesting. Like, how can a message like that be pre-recorded?
Yeah, exactly.
so that's like, how could wrestling be fake? It
Yeah.
was always fake.
Yeah. Well, it's also like you're sending God to voicemail or whatever. Like, if he's so powerful, what if I don't get on TikTok? The message just never gets to me. Like, that doesn't seem
Yeah.
fair.
That's not divine
Can't you
intervention.
just hack into my microwave and tell me tarot cards? It's very vague, you know. It's like something is around the corner, you know. It's very like they never tell you something. They never tell the woman something they need to know, like where we should go eat later.
Yeah, it's always nebulous. By design.
I don't know if you know that. Okay, perfect. Closing story here. I took a 2-minute warning. It's like football. Everybody, just hang on. We're gonna wrap this up soon. He clearly has a head injury.
Hang in there, kid. All right. Here's a guy.
I took a girl to a palm reader for a date.
Usually you read
When
your
you
own
say
palm for a
date, when you say date and palm in the same sentence.
Well, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
You're too smooth for me.
Yeah.
But she was into all the dumb stuff, and I thought, oh, this will be fun. And then the palm reader told us we were a bad match for each other, and then she dumped me.
No kidding.
And I was like, this is stupid, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I could have just paid my buddy $50, put him in a wig, and had him say whatever.
Yeah.
I spent $200. End of the night, I'm reading my own palm.
And yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's easy. There's a reason it's not in the. That's on Andrew Rivers' Crap, actually.
Yeah,
so
Andrew Rivers'
that's,
crap album.
not
No, that's
gonna
funny,
make it.
though. But
That's like it did you a favor, my friend.
yeah. Oh, the other moral of the story is why play a game you don't want to win?
I find that too. You know, sometimes with like emailing these venues, like sometimes they go, "We got a abandoned movie theater,"
Yeah.
and you're like, "Yeah, this will work." You're like talking yourself into
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and then they go $700 rental fee and all, and then you're like, "Why am I trying to convince myself that this is a good?" You know?
Yeah. I tell you, when I look at your hair, I see a little Kurt Cobain in where you are at. Remember, Kurt Cobain was this basically got no respect. His kind of music was considered nothing, and and he basically was in these bands that would play kind of like the venue you just described.
Sounds like we'll be meeting the same fate soon.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Oh, Jesus.
No, but then he caught on to the public consciousness
Yeah.
with Smells Like Teen Spirit, and then all of a sudden, and by the way, he couldn't handle it. I think you'd do okay with fame, but he couldn't handle the fame or the heroin. I think actually, if you
Or Courtney.
yeah. One was port and one was starboard on his sinking ship.
Well, both are a hell of a drug. I've heard.
Yes.
Don't
So-
know anything about
Cocaine's a hell
that.
of a drug.
Actually, I was.
Yeah,
I was
but
in
you're
Canada.
kind of a grunge comic now because before you were the cute
funny.
kid. Yeah, every once in a while.
Wow.
By the way, best thing ever could happen to a dad of a comedian is he goes, "Oh, that's funny," like once a year.
When we were in Canada, we passed by this store,
All right. let me show that.
What store is that? Well, it's out of focus. Hold on.
Out of focus. Back up. There you
There
go.
you go.
Hold it.
Okay. No, I'm out of focus. Hold
Hey,
on.
Odie,
I'll read
what?
it. I'll read it to you.
Okay.
Shrooms, coca leaf, LSD, DMT, kratom, peyote, San Pedro.
Is that Vancouver?
19 plus. 19
They
plus.
sell 19-year-olds in there. That is
Adults only. Mushroomdispensary.com. So this is in Canada. Are they selling LSD?
It's got to be Vancouver, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Vancouver?
It was at Vancouver? Or?
Yeah, it is Vancouver.
Okay.
I knew it.
Mexico, we want to build walls. Canada, we want to build bridges. You know,
Yeah.
we want to knock down the walls of your mind, man.
Yeah.
No, but
That's
makes
pretty
a lot of
wild.
sense.
Yeah, they're going for it, I guess.
How many of those have you had? Have you had shrooms?
I did, but I was a pussy about it, so I told my friend. I have a friend that is a stand-up comic, Shane Moss. I don't think he'll mind telling me the story. He does a psychedelics comedy tour, and
wow.
he let me open for him. And he was like, and I was like, if I'm ever gonna do it, this is the guy to do it with. And I was nervous.
He was your shaman.
Yeah.
Trip sitter.
Guide
is
me
what
up
it's
the
called.
mountain. And so I only took like a very small amount because I was like, I don't want to get. And so I only felt a little, I didn't have any visions. I have delusions of grandeur as is. So,
That's
That's
you don't need
inherited.
extra.
and then I tried DMT, which is supposed to be the chemical that comes out of your brain when you die.
No kidding.
And so, but again, it was.
I think I'll wait on that one.
Yeah, it's difficult to use. It's you're gonna take the long road. I like that joke.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's two in 10 minutes.
two
That's
in
amazing.
one
Yeah.
podcast.
Have you had kratom?
No, don't know what it is.
Oh, I got that once. So when I was experiencing migraines and really was looking for some relief from migraines, I was visiting Keith and we're in Malibu, and I go into some health food store in Malibu with Keith, and he says, well, ask them. They have all kinds of migraine supplements that you can take. And this woman looked at me and said, I think kratom will work for you. And I looked it up, and supposedly people who are on opiates take it because it doesn't have addictive properties like opiates, but it has a little bit of a high similar to, OxyContin or oxycodone.
Write this down, actually.
Well,
Taking
I got bored with it, so I could maybe
Wasn't
save
good
it-
enough,
I
yeah.
could maybe save you the trouble. Well, it because I was really seriously having headaches that I didn't even care. I just needed something, and I took it, and a little bit. It did have a little bit of a weird, like if you took half a tramadol. If anyone, I see some recognition out there in the screen, and. But it doesn't have the, it doesn't stay, and it doesn't make you want more. It makes you go, yeah, sort of like waking up with a hangover. You go, yeah, I don't really want to repeat that experience.
Yeah.
So actually, I think it's good for people getting off opiates because it's got a little of that opiate feeling, and I can't believe I'm so glad this is the end of the show.
sounds like
There's
a
only
pitch
You're not
30
even on
man
people.
for
camera. We can
opiates
say this was
right now.
AI.
Yeah.
Chat GPT stole Bob's voice, and
Anyway, I find drugs fascinating now. I fortunately don't have any particular thing that I'm hooked on. So.
you did talk to my friend Brett Druck because he takes mushrooms for his
Yes,
headaches.
yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
maybe that's an avenue.
I said, look, I'm for whatever. Look, it turns out if I had known how many people opiates would kill and how they would die of overdoses, I would have wanted to do it when I was in high school. Because remember, we were told drugs were evil, and that made us want them. So I had, had no idea. But it turns out, of course, that drugs in a medical setting are very important. Medicinal marijuana is very helpful to a lot of people and has been helpful to me. And so I don't get judgmental about
Yeah.
it. I actually think they should all be legal and
Yes.
let,
Vancouver. Yes.
educate people and counsel them if they're doing something they don't want to do. And if it affects you to the point where you can't keep your job, you can't keep your job.
And they'll be left.
Can't buy any more
Yes.
drugs.
You get the good stuff.
Theoretically.
Sure.
I mean, I know some of it can kill you. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that. I
It's
would
tough.
figure out
I
a way
mean,
around that.
I kind of like, I would like to experiment more, but a lot of drugs are just hard to use. You know, you have to find a shaman and go to Jamaica and go on a spiritual tour.
Sure.
But I also think that, like, you know, I tried DMT and that was interesting and I was curious, but then it's in a thing and you have to take like these huge puffs and it burns, and I thought it's really uncomfortable to try. And I think it's good. Like, you shouldn't make drugs easy to use. Like, when you put heroin in pill form, you get Ohio. You know, it's not good for people.
Sorry, Lizzie.
There you go. All right. Andrew Rivers, ladies and gentlemen. And let me say this, by the way, just as a way to close out the show and tie it all in. This discussion about, because we touched on this briefly with Dr. Medina. The best drug in the world
is love.
Kind of. That's kind of close, Andrew. And I'm sorry I stole I'm sorry I stole your sweaty palm joke too.
So did I.
The best drug in the world is the wonderment and fascination at being alive and interacting with the world and enjoying people, loving them, occasionally having them kick you in the balls, but love you back too once in a while, and just experiencing all the possibilities. So, we talked about that with John Medina. It's good to have my family here.
God bless.
I said something
Amen.
funny twice in 10 minutes.
Yes.
I'm good.
Happy birthday, Lisa.
I can die a happy man. All right. Cheers, Andrew. Cheers, everybody else. That's going to close us out. I will ask... I will send the song Pubic Hair to our webmaster.
Great.
Did I didn't.
Coke with hair, long pubic hair, short and curly, swirly, twirly, curly. Give me a Coke with hair, swimming around the pop top. Whose is it? Who did it? I'm not gonna get that hair. Throw it, show it, somebody hold it that hair. Give me a Coke with hair, swimming around the pop top. Whose is it? Who did it? How did my Coke get that hair? Throw it, show it, somebody hold it that hair. Throw it, show it, somebody hold it that hair.
That's available on the Bob Rivers Crap Volume 2 album, which is not available anywhere.
Turn that thing off.
Yeah. You need
This
to
is
put
on-
that in a time capsule.
That was
This
on
is-
repeat.
The second time today, I've had to parody that song because during our John Travolta bit, he mistook the movie Air, which is about Air Jordan and Michael Jordan, and I had to sing the Hair theme. They sing the song from Hair, the musical,
man.
and I'm trying
That's-
to come up with it. Because
That's one of those songs like an impression of Richard Nixon. Basically, it's
Yes.
the same thing.
It is
Absolutely.
same time frame. Yes.
Next week, I'll bring the other one on. I got no thrill from Anita Hill since this whole story has regurgitated. I want to wish you all the best. Be well, everybody. Take care.
The Bob and Zed Show.